You make enough to pay off the best credit card in what, a year? Is that what you said, a year?
But that's only if I ignore the 2,500 like round that the one in the Taiwanese credit card. So it's just
No, no,
like
no. Is that what you said though? A year though? Is that what you said?
right, but that's if I make the minimum monthly payments on that
Okay.
Taiwanese credit card.
So with this
Yeah.
in the Taiwanese credit card, all your debts combined are 14,000 from the notes that you sent.
That's what I that right.
There is
Yeah,
no
around
excuse,
that.
no reason in the world why those should not be paid off at a minimum in 7 months, $2,000 a month. No reason. No reason. What do you do for a living right now?
Yeah, so right now, I do what's called implementation support engineer for a traffic engineering company. So they have smartly controlled traffic intersections. And I basically log into those and help people configure those. Yeah, and that's my main job. I do other things on the side. I don't know if you want me to get into detail about that because that could get really detailed.
Well, how much do you make in that position?
That position is 81K a year.
Perfect. And what are the side hustles?
So I've gone off and on because I just started this position on July 18th. So like before that, I was unemployed and then I was on some unemployment and then I did had to do some gig work like even like starting when I was working another job that paid only 65K. So I was doing things like Uber Eats mainly and like Grubhub and sometimes DoorDash. But then since the gas prices went up, I basically thought that's not so sustainable. So I got this like gig job where I, similar to like flipping yourself offline online for food delivery, you basically like flip yourself off and online for doing tech support calls. So people will call you like, I want to know how to like check email on my iPhone, like really basic questions. And through that, I actually was able to quit doing the food delivery gig work. And that's like one of the things that I was able to do on the side sustainably. But then the thing about that is you have to remain on call. And I am looking to stop doing that and then more in the future do like freelance writing gigs. So like what I want to do is stuff like write like user guides and like technical writing. And there's like a lot of stuff out there on like Upwork and like things like that. And I'm picturing like maybe I could pull in at least 2K more a month doing this kind of stuff. So that could be a good way to like cover this in my brain, this like about 1K a month gap I still have that if I don't have side hustles.
You have currently a $1,000 a month gap?
So the reason I identify that is because I have this spreadsheet where I go like, this is what I pay out every month. This is what I have typically spent in a month. And if I don't make this amount, which is around maybe 7K, then I'm gonna be like in the whole 1K every month. So that's why I gig work basically
Why
like
do you
that.
budget like that instead of budgeting like I make this much a month? This is what I'm allowed to spend on each category in order to hit the percents in each categories that I want to do.
That's a good point. So as far as like budgeting is concerned, I did categorize it. So like if I were to like pull up the spreadsheet, like it has stuff like so this is what I did. So I have an accounting app, right? And I use this one called Wallet by Budget Bakers. Not Mint because I was doing something and I was long story short, I was living in Taiwan. So like I'm actually bringing in like we can get to the debt later, but I'm like bringing in debt from there still. I'm paying that off still. And just kind of a weird thing to think about. Someone who's currently lives in the States is still paying off debt in another country they lived in. But at any rate, I'm doing that. And then like, so I started this there, and then like I didn't use Mint because it didn't automatically like track my like credit cards there or whatever. So like, what happened was is I just took all of what I just spent, like just kind of willy nilly, right? And I was like, all right, I spend this on, and I literally track everything. It's an app. You press a button. It's like I bought a 6 pack of beer, and then for 12.99, and I write that down as category beer. And then I actually have a budget. I actually literally have a beer budget. So like, so I will have like a groceries budget. I have like a coffee budget. I have but the budgets, what they were based off of, were basically starting like for like when I just spent freely, like it's like fun, like I can just do this and I'm not going to get into trouble. But here's the thing, that I would be getting the trouble if I didn't have any other extra source of income besides my primary job, and then that would be around 1K of trouble monthly. So I would have to cut back on some things, and I could, and that's kind of what I look at it. Things like
And
going
why don't
out.
you? None of this matters. Like, why don't you?
Right, exactly. Because like here's kind of like how it is. Like I think you probably get this because I've seen a lot of your, interviews where like people will say like I remember one guy said something like my going out is like, my whole like, it's like, it's like my sanity or whatever and like my friends, rely on me or whatever. I don't have, too crazy of a social life or whatever, but here's kind of what it is. Like I'm single breadwinner. So like my expenses are for two. And like,
I still don't
you know,
see. I still don't see how that you're. What are these justifications? No, if you know how much
okay,
you're bringing in, you say I'm
yeah,
not allowed to spend more on this category. 30% on wants, 20% on
hmm,
investing, 50% on needs, and then
yeah.
you don't. Why are you doing it
Oh,
backwards and overcomplicating it?
well, you know what? Actually, I haven't budgeted that way, wants versus needs, and haven't budgeted in percent. I haven't thought of it in percentages. I thought of it in dollar amounts. So I thought like, oh, if I typically spend, $200 on beer, that includes at bars too or whatever,
Even if you want to do
then
it in dollar amounts, still, why you're doing $1,000 more, and your justification is, well, it's because I'm spending for two. No, if you guys are a couple, you say I'm not allowed to spend more than this because I only bring in this. It doesn't make sense to have $1,000 in a hole. I don't like this
yeah.
justification mindset that's going on.
Good point. Yeah, exactly. So there you go. But I look at it like this. If I were to, it's like this. It's like to sustain the current lifestyle of us two. This is what I need to bring in, and it's around the 7K mark.
Okay, that's
So
fair.
that's kind of what it is.
Why does the other person not work?
So pretty simple fact of the matter. My husband is an immigrant and doesn't have his work permit yet. And he basically just we just applied recently. So it takes months.
What's the
So
what?
there you go.
Oh, it takes months. That's the turnaround.
Yeah, and who knows, even up to a year for all you know.
And then once he has it, though, he'll work.
Yeah, that's the intention, and then we would be a dual income household.
So instead of overworking yourself, why don't you just cut back until then and then say, once we get to that point where we're both contributing, we're able to have this little extra
Hmm.
luxury. But I mean, if you want to work more, that's fine. I'd rather not kill myself in
Hmm.
order to not cut back on lifestyle. Like,
I am working a lot. I'm trying to do a lot of things. Like I'm trying to basically look at my Monday, Friday, 9 to 5 as like that every time, like minute you got, you should be doing something that's like making money. That kind of mentality. But I have to tell you that when I was in this like weird situation where I was solely relying on some gig work for like a little bit right before I got this job, I let that creep into the nights and weekends, and I kind of like, so if you think about it, like drop the ball on like how much time I spend with my spouse and just like go, like what I could do, and like it was because like this some of this gig work, it's like only busy when it's like prime time to do something else, like dinner time or like whatever it is, like weekend time. So that's why I'm like looking to do more like a writing gig as a second source of income, because then I could do it kind of like when I've got an hour here and there, and then just like have it be a second source of income.
and that's fine. If you really want to do that in order to sustain a lifestyle, but do not base the lifestyle on potential future income until you know what that side hustle brings in. Give it a couple months. You cannot
Yeah.
base it off of, projected, because it's essentially like starting a business when you're starting a side hustle. So looking into your monthly
Yeah.
money, we have a primary checking account. In this one had a beginning balance of $4,069. Brought in 6,241, taken out 4,802. So currently
Mhm.
we're in the positive with this one. We're not taking out more than we're putting in with an ending balance of about $1,000 more of
Mhm.
5,135. And these are just withdrawals are just web payments, Zelle payments, and yeah. So
Mhm.
like credit card and Uplift and stuff like that. Oh boy,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like that's the primary. Yeah. Like, you're looking at a, yeah. Well, I
That was
know what you're
primary.
looking at. Yeah, primary.
And then your second checking account, this one's much smaller. You
Yeah.
deposited, well, I had a beginning balance of zero, and then you deposited
Yeah.
What's the point of this? What's up?
So, okay, so like this is a new checking account I got to put in basically any income that's not primary income, and it's from the same bank as my one of my two main credit cards. And I'm going to say two main credit cards. I'm going to say the two I actually use.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like so what's happening is like you're definitely looking at like older statements. So like I've definitely put in like more recently in that second account from this like you could say side hustling. But it's like really nice because like what happened is that it seems like it processes the payment to the credit card faster when it's in the same bank or the issuing bank of the card is the same checking account. But it makes me kind of think like, then why don't I just switch everything over to the, like have be the checking account that's like for like one of that actually has a credit card on it, right? And then everything would be like really fast. But I'm not so worried about that because I never do like day before it's due or something for my credit card. So I'm okay.
Okay, and then you have an Amazon Chase card. You have a balance of
Mm-hmm.
1,588. You had a previous balance of 873. You paid
Mm-hmm.
756, so not the entire balance. So, and then new purchases of 1,471. So you do not pay off the entire balance, correct?
So about that, they have this weird thing on the statement that says, and it's just a little bit less than the entire balance, like the numbers you said, where they call it the interest free. So you can literally pay that amount and then you don't accrue interest on what's left over, which is really weird, and I've never heard of it until this specific credit card, actually.
Yeah, but you can choose to take the cash back instead. Why do you choose the interest free instead of the cash back?
Oh, you know what? You just told me something new. I did not know that would forego cash back if you do that.
Yes, I believe
So
so. Well,
interesting. Okay. So let me tell you this. So that might be the case. So I just paid off the one the statement you said was like 1588 or something, right? 15, yeah. I just paid that off and I'm like refreshing every day, like, where's my cash back? Where's my cash back? Oh, maybe that's why, you know? Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Well, there you go.
you
I'll
got
have to
to
look into
change
that.
the setting on how you purchase it. Um,
Oh gosh. Okay.
okay, so I guess that makes sense. Now you have a crypto cashback or a crypto
Mm-hmm.
rewards card. So I just
Yeah.
don't know how this works. But you had a previous balance of 932. You completely paid it off. Now you had purchases of more than double of 1,944. And what the heck? Um,
That's gonna be the fun time one, you could almost say, because what's going on is it depends on percent per category. So like Amazon's, of course, like more for Amazon, which I barely use it for Amazon, but if I ever needed to, it'd be 3%. And then back to the Amazon, it's 2% for gas, and then that's pretty much it. And shopping, I just like it has a higher limit at 7,500. So shopping could go on that too. If I just was like someone who could afford to go shopping, kind of rolling my eyes. Um, but like, yeah. And then this crypto card is basically strictly food and drink, and that includes 2% on that on groceries and going out. So bars and restaurants and groceries, 2%. And that's why you see a lot of food and drink and groceries on it.
and the 2% comes back to you in cash or crypto.
So here's the wonderful part about it. It's crypto, and I chose Ethereum coin because I can actually send that over to Taiwan to then pay off this Taiwanese credit card I'm still paying back. That has a 15% APR.
How
So
much is
that's
on
how
this
it's done.
Taiwan credit card?
This Taiwan credit card, I mean, I would have to like pull it up, but it's around, last I checked, around 2,500K US. Yeah, yeah, it's like, and it's 15% APR, and it's the only thing I'm like wasting. I feel like I'm wasting APR on right now.
You are, because there's no point in doing it, because you're going to Target and Dunkin' Donuts and getting some Bangkok food, some jewelry, some kitchens, some garlic bars, some McDonald's, another jewel thing, a market.
Yeah, Jewel's the grocery store.
Oh, okay, and then Culver's, and then some beverages and Noodle Station, and uh, it just keeps going with the Marinos and Dunkin' and Rex.
Mariano's is a grocery store. Yeah.
Okay, well, and then this statement goes on forever, and I am not going to name everything, but even towards the end, still getting Chipotle and going to bars and having hot dogs, and so there is no reason for you to have this $2,500 in debt. because really you are, again, on this card, though there's grocery shopping included, you spend about $2,000 on here. Wouldn't be surprised just looking at how many food things there are. About $1,000 of it is eating out. What is the point of having this terrible APR $2,500 debt when you could have paid $1,000 to it if you were willing to sacrifice for 1 month?
That's true too. Right, exactly. Now, the thing about it is like I'm getting better more recently. I think if you saw like a more recent statement, you might see like this is what I would imagine. You might see this. You might see the Mariano's and Jewels go up or whatever, and that's the grocery shopping. But then like the going out going down. But it, I feel like it's, and we also go to like Asian supermarkets too. But so it's like kind of like a shuffle of supermarkets. And like I feel like kind of like there's some things, opportunities to save money in a couple ways. Of course, like more cooking at home, but then when you cook at home, smart cooking at home. And it's like, but what sometimes we do a lot is like we just like, we want a specific dish, and then it's really like a lot to think about when you're like wanting to have some fun cooking a dish at home, and they're like you spend all this on ingredients, but then it's like equivalent to the going out of that dish, but usually ends up being less than that because it feeds us for like 3 times or something versus like one time getting that at a restaurant. So that's kind of how I like justify like, oh, like that's why I'm swiping so much at Jewel and Mariano's and Asian markets and just like all this kind of stuff for groceries. But it's still like we're not eating like mac and cheese, that's kind of like, so there is definitely, because groceries I feel like is my biggest expense, like Jewel, Mariano's, and like Asian markets, like that's it. There are hundreds, and if I were to look at one time I looked at a spreadsheet, I was like, oh my god, I think I spent like $9.50 in the supermarkets one month one time. It was just like insane, that kind of thing.
I mean, all the justifications aside, you have $14,000 in total debt, a loan from Taiwan, a credit card with 15% APR, $6,000 Best Buy card. Oh my gosh.
Well, there's one more debt in Taiwan.
Oh, 1 second. And then you finance an iPhone on an Apple card, an espresso machine from Amazon, which you're doing the thing, and then 2 more credit cards that you paid in full, the last 2 statements. Good. And then 1 more payment for a financed flight. Oh my goodness, that's the first I've seen of that. $14,000 in debt. You have $2,000 in the bank currently. You can't have fun. I don't care what justifications there are. There is no lifestyle that is being sustained while you have $14,000 in bad, stupid debt. There is no point. So
let me tell you about that debt. Yeah. So the debt used to be $25,000. And then my mom helped me out with $11,000. And she said, I'll basically not ask you to pay it back, and then I'll just take it out of your inheritance of all things. Like, all right, thank you. Yeah, that really helped me. I was like driving myself crazy, especially during the relying on gig work during unemployed time when it was $25K. So that's why I was brought down. Yeah, and during that time, guess what I had? I opened up some other credit card, and it like had a 21 month, where you balance transfer, but then I ate the 5% fee. And for that, and then I took care of that. That's over. That's not even listed here because that's done. It's 0, that balance transfer card. And then I even had a 5K personal loan from SoFi that I was for 3 years. So one of them, that balance transfer was going to be for 21 months, $191. That SoFi was going to be $172. So then when I added it all up, it was over in monthly payments, $1K, and I was driving myself crazy. But I can tell you the why behind these finances.
I do not. There don't need to be more stories, no more justifications. What matters is you have these. I was excited when you said, okay, some of it was paid off, and then I learned it was from your mom, so you didn't do anything on this. You make way too much freaking money to have $14,000 in debt left. It makes no sense, and it's all because you are living a lifestyle that you cannot afford. What is your rent on a monthly basis?
Rent's $1,800.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you
Trust me,
Oh, I don't
that's
have a
good for the
pay
size of the place,
statement.
but
What do you bring in on a monthly basis after taxes and everything?
It's just shy of 5K. Like last one was like 49.30, but it had to do with like a new job and something with health insurance and balancing it out. So it's going to be probably around 40, like 875 or something, maybe after that healthcare premium that they're going to adjust the next time. So something like that. But not 5K. Not I wish it was 5K, but it's almost 5K.
Okay, well, guess what? From the beginning of our conversation, you're right. You do need a side hustle, but not in order to sustain your lifestyle. You need a side hustle in order to pay this crap off. It makes no
right.
sense for you to have this, and I'm so upset that
Yeah.
you open the conversation with sustaining this lifestyle. I don't care. Yeah, you and your husband. Now, you did say husband, correct?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so correct me on my ignorance, but if someone gets married in the United States, why do they need? Don't they immediately become a citizen?
No, so it takes a long time. So there's two things basically that we're waiting for. Mainly the thing we're waiting for is work permit. So there's an SSN to even apply for jobs. And then, yeah, oof, I know. And it's an agonizing wait. And then green cards like could be over a year, and that's just like permanent residency stuff. But like you'll get your work permit before that apparently.
I
Yeah.
really want him to be able to work.
Oh yeah, so does he. Of course. Yeah.
Okay, so you bring in 4,800. Do you have any vehicle debt? Vroom vroom.
Thank God no.
And you guys, it looks like in Chicago, right? So good
Hmm.
transportation there. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
So
Have a car. It's because of like some old car that my dad gave me. Then like it got crashed, and then I negotiated a better rate from insurance last year, and then I got a newer car. But it's good. I didn't basically finance a car because I did not want any more monthly payments. Car's used all the time, but I live 5 minutes away from a 24-hour train, like the subway. But
well, if you use it, I don't want to take it away. You don't have to.
yeah, no, it's important. And we need to be able to go like do things like more easily in this like outskirts of Chicago area we're living in. Sometimes. Yeah, like around this area. But if we wanted to do anything within like hot spots of Chicago, I always take the train.
Dude, you have $3,000 left. You probably have your insurance, and then going out to eat.
Insurance is
Well,
115.
okay, one second. So you have all this. So there's $3,000. Then after probably some mandatory payments and stuff like that, you probably have like 2,500. 2,500. All you guys do spend no more than $750 on groceries a month. No. Well, spend no more than
Yeah.
$500 a month on groceries for a few months.
Okay.
$2,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. Because like I've seen average 750 maybe, and then one time I think it was like 900 when we were like filling up a kitchen or something. Like when we first moved into this place.
There's
Yeah.
no reason that you do not put $2,000 toward this debt every single month at a minimum with just your salary, and it would be paid off in
Yeah.
2 months. You have to cut back and be willing to sacrifice
Yeah.
that, or else it'll just continue forever. You can add side hustles and cut that down to like maybe 5 months, but there's no reason why this isn't paid off in 7 months. Do you agree?
I agree, and it was really weird, and you know how like it's like in Taiwan, right? And I thought, oh, that's not going to affect my credit score here if I just make the minimum payments. But the weirdest thing is it did, because what I did is I was in so much in the debt. I did a balance transfer card, so a new car. I did a SoFi loan. My credit score did drop right after I did that, and I'm like, oh, it's not going to affect, but and it did, and I learned from that. Right. And then, but if like, for example, my mom helped me before I did that stuff, then I wouldn't have to take those basically two actions, right, to help mitigate my debt. And then
The
like,
only progress that's been made on your debts from your mom, and you haven't done any of this. I have no confidence that you're actually
Yeah.
going to cut back and do this within 7 months. I mean,
I get
not
it.
not to be
Yeah.
rude, but there's no historical performance on your end that'll indicate you being responsible. So,
Right.
what are you actually going to do? Are you and your husband going to be on the same page about cutting back lifestyle?
oh, yeah, definitely. So like, as far as like the lifestyle is concerned,
Oh, 1 second. Okay, cool. So,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Then why has it
Yeah.
not?
okay, because it's me. And like I'm the one that likes to probably do the like I spend the most, right? So like I'm the one who likes to go out, right? And I'll spend that. So that could be easy. That's just all on me. Like just I can just knock it out if I just like spend less going out or go out less or whatever, right? I feel honestly speaking though, I don't even like go out all that often. Like what I do is I just go to like live music shows and but I have to tell you it adds up because it's like 15 for the ticket, 35 for the drinks, there's $50 right there.
Yeah, yep, it all adds up. So you need to stop doing that just for a few months. Work extra if you can. There's no reason to be in stupid debt. This is what I call stupid debt.
The Best Buy is the worst one. I hate that one the most. The Best Buy. Oh.
Yeah, the interest rates on these things are just dumb. There's no reason, and then we just don't do it again ever.
There's 0% for 2 year kind of things, but then like what you end up having to pay monthly for like at least currently right now, I'm actually this second I know my Best Buy is 54.50, and I have this plan where like if I can make enough extra income, I'll do like I did 450 my last payment. I'll do another 450. It'll be a straight 5K left, and then I'll do 10 months of 500, and then it's gone. But it's not required because it's actually that would be like essentially like a 10 11 month plan, right? As an 11-month plan, but then it's not due until 18 months, so I could get away with the like around 362 a month and then sustain it, but it killing me having to
Now, the person in your situation, everyone has their own unique situation, and you're one of those that has been rare on my show where you qualify absolutely perfect for the Dave Ramsey method. You just need to pay off the smallest to largest. You need to take advantage of the snowball. So whatever the smallest balance is on a debt, you pay that off, and then whatever the next smallest one, you pay that off, and then these should be done in no longer than 7 months. And then you do not have any savings or emergency fund, do you, right now?
I only have $100 in a savings account, and then there's this really strange crypto account that's worth about 300 right now. That has to do with like baking cryptocurrency and it had a huge return, but then crypto crashed basically, and I'm like, that's too risky for me. Sorry.
Okay, take the $300 out now and put it towards your smallest debt.
Sure.
Yeah, I would do that. Do that now. And
It's not doing anything. Yeah.
what's your car worth? What's your car worth?
But,
What's your car worth?
Oh God, it was worth more last year probably because of the market being so up. But then like I think it's stabilized. Is that right?
What's it worth?
right assumption.
What's it worth?
I think it's worth 5K maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
What is it? What's the car?
It's a 2013 Chevrolet Sonic, and unfortunately, it was bought at like 7K ish.
Well, that's fine. You don't have any debt on it, so whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the plan, were I in your shoes, would be to then snowball these things, pay it off within 7 months, work extra, pay it off within 5 months, and then immediately with this rent that you have, which is kind of a gross rent, I would probably then do anything in my power to save up at least $20,000 in a high yield savings account for.
That's the number I was thinking too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking 21,000 because I'm thinking 3 months of 7,000 a month savings, but for emergencies.
That's fine. Just right around there, and I think you should be able to do that by the end of next year. You should be able to do that by the end of next year. Then all of a sudden, end of next year, and maybe hopefully he's able to start working at that time. So we're looking at the beginning of 2024, and then you and your husband, you are in an awesome position to just like continue the trajectory of your lives with investing in like S&P 500 based things, buying a house or a condo, investing in real estate if you want to, whatever you want to do, and being able to have this fun spending. But I'm sorry, you do not have fun spending until the end of next year, most likely.
That's how I look at it too. And it's been painful just because of the fact that like even though like what is being spent on this lifestyle that is had now, it's really weird how it doesn't feel still like much of a lifestyle. Like if I were to tell you like how much I go out, it's not every weekend, just an example, you know what I mean? How much I actually eat out, it may not even be every week. But, I think it's just being weary of the things that are more the wants versus the needs in that way. It's like, do I really need to, willy-nilly buy like, 4 beers at the bar and it ends up being $38? I could get away with like one, that kind of thing, right? Or, but it's just like, I don't know. Some of the things are like the going out is more for me. I feel like, oh, I work so hard and I want to go out.
Yeah, well, it's time that we pretend like we're
Yeah.
adults, and
Yeah.
you do not. I'm sorry, you don't have any fun spending. You don't have any fun spending until stupidity is gone. And but that sounds, yeah, the stupid debt is what I'm specifically talking about. Not you. I'm not trying to sound offensive. Yeah. So
Buy is like really luxurious thing that I got, for sure.
yeah. So no more of that. And then all of a sudden, by the end of next year, you have an emergency fund, and then you're able to do the things you want. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? What are you actually going to do? We're going to have to see if you actually do it by following up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. So I know for a fact that I am on track to make enough side income to potentially pay like off like the Best Buy soon, maybe within a year instead of a year and a half. That's what I want to do. That's 5450. But I know that's the largest debt, but there's this 600 for espresso machine or whatever, Amazon. I'll do 100 a month instead of it being over a year. So that'll be gone in 6 months. So as far as Snowball, like the only things that are like, and then, but here's that thing that what am I forgetting about already? I'm forgetting about that Taiwanese credit card, right? And by the way, there's also a loan there too that's still got like 1K on it. That was this 3-year COVID loan that was like started 2 years ago that has like an insanely low interest rate of like 0.03% or something. So instead of stimulus payments there, they did like a loan of around 3,500K US, and then it's like 1K left on it. So my monthly payments out to Taiwan, including this, I feel like random minimum payment like for this credit card. Sometimes it's like feeling like $50. Sometimes it's feeling like
Okay, I get it. So the reason why his method works so well for people like you is because just the way you talked about this and the way you talked about the budget, you overcomplicate it, and then it just doesn't work. And it clearly hasn't worked because you haven't made a dent in this debt. It was only your mom. So when you do the snowball thing, essentially you're making the minimum monthly payments on everything else. And I can't believe I'm talking about Dave Ramsey this much. This is the longest we've talked about him on this show so far. A competitor, technically. So I think I think you need to do that. You pay off the smallest ones as quick as no, I've lost it there. Okay, so you pay off the smallest, and then you keep paying off whatever the smallest ends up being, and you're making the minimum monthly payments on the other one. I think that works best for your situation because you've been financially undisciplined, so you need the more kindergarten hand-holding when you go through this program. That's just what you need, and it's good to accept it. If you do not accept that that's where you've been, then I think you're going to continue down a bad path. There's nothing wrong. I need to be kindergarten hand-holded when it comes to eating food that's bad for my body and dieting. I know what I'm bad at, and you need to recognize that you're not good at this, and you need to follow a program that is less than you trying to figure out every little aspect and overcomplicating things. Just pay off the smallest one, and you'll be done in a few months. It's just a few months anyway, so who cares?
I do. I do have a tendency to overcomplicate. Like I have like all this accounting software, I log everything. I mean, it's good numbers, right? But then I'm like constantly stressed out about it and spending so much time just like looking at numbers all the time. Like in a sense of like it's taking out of my personal enjoyment of life. You could
Well, not only that, but you also mentioned you make enough to pay off the Best Buy card in what, a year? Is that what you said, a year?
But that's only if I ignore the 2,500 like round that the one in the Taiwanese credit card. So it's just like,
No. Is that what you said though? A year though? Is that what you said?
right, but that's if I make the minimum monthly payments on that Taiwanese
Okay.
credit card.
So with this in the Taiwanese credit card, all your debts combined are 14,000 from the notes that you sent.
That's what right.
There is no excuse, no reason in the world why those should not be paid off at a minimum in 7 months, $2,000 a month. No reason.
2,000 would be like
It's not hard. It's not hard. If you look at your money and where it is going, $4,800 after all taxes and stuff, after the rent, after the mandatory payments, after $500 on groceries, you might have to cut back on groceries, but then not a single ounce of fun, then it is paid off in 7 months. You do not get to have fun while the stupid debt exists. That's just how.
Well, winter's starting, so whatever. You know, it's Chicago.
I know, yeah, it's brutal up there. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
whatever.
So just you best stay at home and like not as much like fun. I mean, you're tempted still to like go out to like shows or whatever, but it's like it's not as much summery, like kind of like, oh, this, then that, and just
You're tempted to go to shows. Be tempted to live a better life instead.
Yeah.
So I know I've been pretty rough, and the reason I'm pretty rough is because I want to get the point over across. Because I want you to do better. I want you and me to talk in 7 months, and this is gone. Then all of a sudden, the biggest weight in the world is lifted off you. I want us to talk again at the end of next year. Then all of a sudden, you and your husband are in a place where you do not have any bad debts, and you have a fully funded emergency fund. And you're able to just talk about the next part of your life, which is incredible. That's what I want. I want the best for you, and that's why I'm being a little aggressive. But you need to do these, and if you're not willing to do these, then I don't see your financial future working out very well.
right, or just basically making the debts last so much longer.
Which is what essentially I just said. Your financial future will not work out very well.
Right. 7 months would be amazing. I would feel like, what is that? That's like we're at September, and it's like that's what, April. You know, so that's like when the weather's, back to being better, and feel like, and then you're like, oh, I'm out of debt and the summer's starting and happy times, you know?
Yeah, but you still do not get to have fun until you have an emergency fund, to be very clear.
Yeah, I mean, I want like 21K in an emergency fund would be amazing. Like, yeah. But, I wonder if that's just like straight, if it should just be straight cash. Like, I don't think so. I think it should be invested.
No, you're not going to invest. No, not for your emergency fund. You're just going to have it in a high yield. Then you never touch it. You don't think about it. Then we think about investing after we have that.
Okay. That's the last step. Okay. Yeah.
It'll still take you at $2,000 a month, 10.5 months to have your emergency fund.
Yeah.
So
that's why you
get
out a year.
that side hustle and make more money and cut these times down in half if you want to, so you can have fun quicker. But that's what it's at.
Yeah. I feel you.